cool April morning greets 14 long-distance runners warming up for Epsom and Ewell Harriers' annual 40 miles track race. In a crowded fixture list, the few ultra-long-distance races attract a special breed of men like Don Turner, who actually goes better the further he runs, on road or track, and 24-year-old Joe Keating, a relative newcomer but already making his mark at these distances. Checking the opposition, Joe can afford to appear confident after narrowly missing the world record at this distance just 6 months ago. 2,000 training miles later, Joe's main opponents are the Watch and Kevin Woodward, who is a fast starter. The world record for 40 miles stands at 3 hours 49 minutes 49 seconds, and anyone wanting to beat that will have to average better than 5 minutes 45 seconds per mile. 40 miles or 161 laps, it's a very long way, but after many miles of training, the athletes soon adopt a pace which they hope to maintain for much of the distance. While the recorders begin the mammoth task of noting the lap times, Kevin Woodward is already lapping the field at 5-minute mile pace. One recorder for each runner makes light work, but care is required, for just one mistake could jeopardize a runner's efforts. The slowest runners will be on the track for around 5 hours. Nevertheless, the recorders give their services gladly as their contribution to the sport. If Kevin keeps this up, he'll shatter the record, but he could be going too fast. Runners come in all shapes and sizes, but it is usually found that the smaller man has an advantage at endurance events. Although tailing Joe, Kevin is actually 2 laps ahead. At 5 miles he leads by 3 minutes, but the gap is no longer widening. While minor battles are being fought, Joe must now claw back the lost ground. By sticking to his schedule, which would take him within reach of the world record, Joe ensures his own survival, but he must be patient and wait for Kevin to come back to him. This may not occur until the race is well advanced, but it is almost certain and surely adds interest for the spectators and runners alike. Joe's patience is rewarded as he gains on Kevin, who is losing some of his fire. However, Kevin will not permit Joe to overtake without some resistance. But he can only delay the inevitable. Pulling Kevin along, Joe is only 1 lap down. The 25 miles check shows that Joe has halved Kevin's lead. Registered with the Amateur Athletic Association, the timekeepers must use certified watches if a record time is to be officially accepted. At this stage, the runners begin to feel the distance. That is, all except Joe, who sweeps along maintaining a fine pace. At 26 miles, the marathon distance, his rival is powerless after his impetuous beginning to make no more than a token effort as Joe pulls away on the lap that will bring him equality. Naturally, prolonged running makes the runners thirsty. In the course of the race, they are allowed as many drinks as they like. No rules are broken if a runner stops briefly, he merely loses time. Using a suitable bottle, Joe takes his drink without losing a moment. That world record really looks in danger now. Burning about 100 calories per mile, runners welcome a cool, refreshing sponge. But neither drinks nor sponges can now save Kevin, whose action is perceptibly more laboured. Chasing him with a drink, his wife offers some encouragement. Every effort must be made to keep him moving. With 27 miles coming up, Joe Keating looks set for a good time. A quick check confirms that the next time Joe passes his weary rival, he will actually take the lead. With nothing but 13 miles between him and the record, Joe goes on with renewed strength. But Kevin's resources are almost exhausted. For Joe, there is only an hour left, and previous record schedules are compared with his current progress. But out on the track, there are also runners whose names will never appear in the record books. They know they have no chance of winning, but undaunted, they strive to improve their personal records. They renew old battles with friendly rivals, and their very presence brings perspective to the race. Without them, there would be no champion. A spot of maintenance at the refreshment point. Nothing must impede Joe Keating now. Kevin is forced to call it a day. Don't look so unhappy. 30 miles in 2 hours 56 minutes is fast in any language. Medical research appears to indicate that athletes on a normal diet have fixed reserves of fuel which can be expended either quickly over a short distance or more slowly over a long distance. The endurance runner must accurately judge his early pace, not an easy thing to do when running at only 70% of his maximum, with his brakes on, as it were, to prevent a dramatic loss of speed when the stores are depleted. However, it is unusual to eat solids. As the race progresses, the stewards answer many inquiries concerning lap scores and times. Alan Phillips, a former record holder at 50 miles, learns that Don Turner is indeed moving into second place, although a long way behind Joe Keating. 35 miles in 3 hours 17 minutes. But even Joe is beginning to feel the pace. That last mile took more than 6 minutes. If he allows the tempo to drop, he will leave himself too much to regain over the last miles. Joe must be told that he is still inside record schedule but is slowing down. He will only beat the record by finding more speed. Records are broken by men who can ignore the mounting pain, reject the body's pleas for relief, and even raise the pace when it seems the limit has been reached. As Joe incredibly accelerates into the penultimate lap, who knows what thoughts pass through his rival's head. The physical agony can not only be seen, it can be felt, as Joe drives himself into the last lap. As the relentless watch steals the seconds from Joe, he finds even more speed. How can this man run 40 miles and finish so fast? At last, Joe reaches the haven of the line. Undistressed, Joe will not know if he has beaten the record until the chief timekeeper has checked the results. Naturally, great care is taken over this, while everyone must wait. Time for a cool sponge. Why are the timekeepers taking so long? This waiting must be unbearable for Joe after that great effort. He made it! A new world record. The official time is 3 hours, 49 minutes and 32 seconds, beating the previous best by 17 seconds. At last Joe can relax, but first the press wants to know what it feels like to be a world record holder. Quietly answering questions, Joe hardly appears like a 40-miler, but behind that mild exterior hides a determination that exploits his athletic talent to the highest degree. As the president of the Roadrunners Club adds his congratulations, Joe's arm is in danger of aching as much as his legs, which are now letting him know that they could do with a rest. Happily, Joe steers a course for a hot shower, while the remaining runners go on to complete the distance.